At a yield sign, to pedestrians in a crosswalk, to persons using a seeing eye guide dog, to persons using a white cane with or without a red tip, at T intersections where you must yield to vehicles on the through road, at uncontrolled intersections where vehicles are already in the intersection, when driving on an unpaved road that intersects with a paved road, when returning to the roadway after a car is parked. Pedestrians must always be yielded the right of way at intersections and crosswalks. Treat bicycles as motor vehicles. Yield to bicyclists in all situations where you would yield to a car. For example, wait for an oncoming bicycle to pass before turning left. Turn right at a red light if it's permitted and no vehicles are approaching. If you see a sign that says "No right turn on red," then you must wait for the light to turn green again. Otherwise, you must turn right at a red light after yielding to oncoming traffic. Stop for pedestrians who've begun crossing the road. Once a pedestrian has begun crossing the road, they have the right of way. You should also stop for pedestrians waiting to cross at crosswalks that aren't controlled by a traffic light. Yield to oncoming traffic if you're entering a main road.
Thanks for staying with us. It's still the breakfast on Plus TV Africa. We heard news from Abia State Assembly that they have passed a bill to stop pension for ex-governors and deputies. That's our first hot topic. And to discuss that with us is Mohammed Abdullahi, who is a public relations analyst. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Nigeria. It's always my pleasure.
Good morning.
Okay,
Thanks
so
for coming.
this bill has been passed into law in Abia State. Let's have your take.
Now, it's a welcome development. You know, if I recall, such kind of waywardness, if I may use that word, apologies, emanated, I think, from the past governors in Lagos, who, after leaving office, perhaps maybe after 4 or even 8 years, decided to institutionalize a kind of pension where even after having all the good things of life, after 4 or 8 years, decided to also continue to have that even after office. Cars every 2 years, robust pension, medical treatment for themselves and their families, even where majority of the citizens are wallowing in abject poverty and can't even afford paracetamol. And then, you know, the Nigerian state is quick to copy negativity. So, you know, I think from Lagos, most part of the other states in Nigeria saw the opportunity and said, oh, why can't we do this? You know, and then because it's so selfish, what the other governors did was to also include the high echelon, the leaders of the the state assembly in this case. And so it became a thing for almost all the past state governors in Nigeria to be entitled to pension, as well as the deputies and their families, alongside perhaps the speaker, maybe the deputy speaker in each state. So, as at the last count, very many of Nigerian states operate this very terrible policy and even law, because most of them passed it into law since it benefits them alone and their families. So it's quite commendable that the new government in Abia, even though they are supposed to be the beneficiaries as well when they leave office, whether after 4 or 8 years, decided to say no. I think we don't have these resources for this wastefulness. Let's, even though we're supposed to be benefiting when we leave office, but I think it's good that we cut it off. It's a commendable one, and that.
You're saying that it started in Lagos State. Does this not happen at the national? Do presidents not have this kind of things, retirement benefits that they give them every maybe 4 years or 5 years? Because if the federal government has it, so we could just safely say it trickled down to the states.
No, I think the federal government, the president perhaps, and the vice president, and maybe even the Senate president and some top members of the judiciary were catered for in Nigeria's constitution. That if we want to change, perhaps we have to amend the constitution as it may be. So I think it's not a good yardstick for others, for the states level to copy. Yes, and these are some of the challenges with our constitution generally. So I agree with you, but I think it wasn't a good yardstick that the states copied, and then it trickled down almost to all the states across the country.
Okay, so with this now, it being in our constitution, don't you think we should have some form of amendment? Because we're talking about the cost of governance, especially for the type of economy that we're currently in. I would expect that the government should try to look for ways to cut some expenditure to make sure that there's more money in the fund, or we have more public funds. So isn't this supposed to just help to reduce the cost of governance? I mean, Abia, is doing this now, but isn't this something other states should also have, and then even at the national level as well?
Definitely. That's why I said earlier, it's a commendable effort, it's a commendable step by the new government in Abia. And then for every right-thinking Nigerian, is not only for even the states to copy, it's for even the federal government. What stopped the present president in moving a motion or even sending a bill to the National Assembly to repeal all those bogus grants and so on and so forth? Because even the medical allowances alone is so bogus that if you see some of the things that is catered for past leaders by the Nigerian constitution, is shocking. Why the average Nigerian, like I said earlier, can't even afford paracetamol or even food to eat. So it's a commendable step, and that's what leadership is all about: sacrifice. Yeah. The things that your followers can't have, why do you have them as a leader? Because it's even supposed to be the other way around. It's supposed to be that it is the leader, it is the followers that are enjoying some of these largesse while the leaders are sacrificing. So, but here in Nigeria, it's the other way around. So I think it's a very commendable step. And for every right-thinking Nigerian, it's something that both the federal government and other state government who have this in their packages for ex-leaders and for past leaders should look forward to, repealing such laws.
Well, I would want to believe that this was because of some form of security. This and something like immunity. When you are in office, you concentrate on the things that you're supposed to do. Lawsuits and all that will not come to you. That's why immunity came up. And then when you're in office, you're not afraid that after I leave office, what am I going to do? Because while you're in office, you cannot do business and so many other things that you are doing. Like the president, even if he has a company, he cannot give contracts to his company and so many other things. So I would want to believe that it's a form of security that that even if you lose everything about your business, you still have something that will keep you going. Now, let me sound like a Nigerian, very pessimistic, very afraid of what the outcome might be. Now that they know that they are going to retire into affluence, permit the word to use, we are seeing a lot of them pilfering our economy. When they know that we are going to retire and they will not have these funds, don't you think it will even affect us even more, because they want to have this security by pilfering even more? Just saying.
Yes, leadership, like I said earlier, shouldn't be centered around oneself. Good leaders all over the world think about their followers, think about the citizens, think about what others will have rather than themselves. There are so many leaders. It's just in this part of the world that we have people that are leaders, perhaps maybe go into leadership as maybe a semi-rich person, but come out after 4 years or even 8 years, become a billionaire and so on and so forth. It's wrong. You understand? World leaders, if you allow me to make an example, even former President Obama mentioned in so many fora that he became even richer after leaving the White House. You understand? And that's how it should be, not that while you are there, you are amassing public wealth. So I think we need to change this perception. We need to change this kind of thinking, and it boils down to a whole lot of societal things around here. Sometimes you really can't blame these leaders, because sometimes as citizens, even while they are there, if he or she is your family and he refuses to do the wrong thing, perhaps even from the family meeting, let me use that phrase, you guys begin to lambast him or her that, yeah, he's a local government chairman or he's even a minister, he did nothing, he didn't do that, indirectly indicting him or telling him or her that he didn't steal. So we have a lot of to change in terms of our mindset and in terms of the system and the thinking of the masses. But be that as it may, it doesn't buttress the fact that leaders should always think about themselves, even when they are at the position of power or even when they leave. What is most important is legacies. And how do you keep these good legacies is by impacting positively on the society and the citizen.
It's just sad that that's the reality in Nigeria right now. And but you've profiled the solution and said that we should change the mindset. Who now champions that cause of the reorientation of our people?
It begins from us, yourself and myself. Like I said, individually from the family, what are we inculcating in ourselves from the family background? I just give you an example. I know sometimes my father used to tell me a long time ago that when you see a policeman in front of your neighbor's home, back then in the village, even without arresting anybody, people are scared to say, come on, you don't need to go near that family because it seems they have a bad name, let alone when you have handcuffed, when one or two persons are handcuffed in that family. So that family orientation needs to continue. We need to, but now, what do? Even when people know that their wards are doing the wrong thing, in as much as they bring in the money, they bring in the funds, they tend to cover them, they tend to celebrate them, and it goes into the larger society. So we need to reorientate ourselves right from the family level, and then also at the leadership level as well. We see that people who are dealt with decisively, just to become a deterrent for others going into such crime. So it's all encompassing, right from the family to schools, to the media, to the leadership level. All hands must be on deck to teach the right thing and also inculcate in people the very right thing to do, irrespective of the situation.
Okay.
For me, I have a little thought in my head, right? I know that when you get pension, you've probably worked for about 30 years in Nigeria, or you're 60 and above. But the thought in my head, like I said, we have these governors and presidents or whoever who goes into power, and then maybe after 4 or 8 years, they have a pension, and that's a lot of money, right? That some people might not even get after working for 30 years. So if you're saying that we need to sacrifice, what reorientation do you think they need? Because it's not even about us now. I mean, obviously, a president or a governor or a politician comes from us, but for the people that are there already, what kind of orientation do you think that they need to ensure that, okay, you don't have to take money off public funds? Even if you have been there for 4-8 years, the pension, you can actually sacrifice that.
Yeah, knowing full well that also we've just had a case of Ningi who raised an issue that should show that some people have integrity, and when they see something, they say something. And all the senators are against him and suspended him. Even one of the senators came out to say that he warned Ningi not to say anything. That means he saw what was wrong, but you better not say it so that you don't become the black sheep. So when you find people like this, how do you think this will even be a success? Where do we even start from? Because if you're giving orientation to us, they are doing what they like, except you're giving us the orientation to say, let's go and picket the National Assembly, or let's go and demonstrate or do one thing or the other, which may even result in something worse than what we expected. So what do we do?
In my belief, change can start from one person. You understand? It doesn't matter, I mean, the defense here and there. Change can really start from one person. Just like you mentioned, Senator Ningi, perhaps, yes, he's suspended, but it's all there, it's out there that he's trying to say or do the right thing. So posterity will forever remember him for that. You understand? So, and then perhaps people will also begin to feel that, okay, we can also do this, we can do that, we can do that. And then, yes, it becomes gradually, it becomes part of the behavior of the larger society. Yes, so, yes, it's a matter of hope. Even though it seems that the light seems very dim at the end of the tunnel at the moment, but seriously, we don't have to give in. You know, we don't have to give up. That is not possible. So, like I said earlier, it's everybody's duty. For instance, you can't say because everyone is stealing, then you want to become a thief. Even if you know, the whole world, like they said, keep doing wrong, that still won't justify it to be right. So, seriously, the very few people, whether 1 or 2 or 100 or thousands in Nigeria, that continue to become upright, that continue to keep upright, will definitely have impact someday, somewhere, as we continue to grow in this country. So I think it's just about belief. It's just about doing our bit, whether as citizens or leaders. Remember, even I remember just 2 or 3 days ago, Governor Soludo, I don't know how true, mentioned that he has not received salary since almost 2 years that he's been in office. So if that is true, that's also commendable, because he was a former CBN governor. Perhaps he's got enough for the rest of his life. So if he's sacrificing his salary for the people of Anambra State, that's a very good one. That's a commendable one, even though the Constitution allows him to be paid. But he said, no, I want to make sure these monies, these extra monies for my salary are meant, you know, to construct roads, to construct new hospitals, and so on and so forth. So if it is true, it's a commendable one. You understand? So, like I said, we can't blanket, we can't make a blanket statement for everyone. Yes, Nigeria is not nice. Nigerians perhaps are not nicer, but again, seriously, there are good people here and there. And even among leaders that we keep castigating here and there are some people that are still very upright. It's very possible. So we should just keep that hope alive by doing good from our own little corner, and hopefully, in no distant time, Nigeria will be better.
Well, keep hope alive. It is. Keep hope alive, and we're hoping, really, like you said, Nigeria will. In fact, Nigeria is good.
It's getting better.
Yeah, it's just that some people are bad. Nigeria itself is good. Nigeria is blessed so much, but some people are giving us a bad name. We will continue to work hard, and we hope that every citizen keys in. We'd like to thank you, Mohammed, for coming on the program this morning. It's been a very big pleasure having you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. We'll be talking with Mohammed Abdullahi, a public relations analyst. We'll take a short break now. When we return, we'll wrap up the show as best we can.
Picture this. You're sitting at a table, ready to indulge in a mouth-watering meal. Stop. For many of us, it is hard to resist the temptation, especially when it comes to enjoying a juicy beef dish. But have you ever stopped to think about the impact of your food choices on the greater good? Our food choices have a great impact on others. The beef industry is one of the leading contributors to deforestation. As trees are cleared to make way for cattle ranching, it not only disrupts the delicate balance of ecosystems, but also contributes to climate change. We can make a difference with our choices. It does not mean we all have to become vegans overnight. Imagine enjoying fish and poultry a few times a week, indulging in beef just once a month, and filling our plates with plenty of plant-based goodness. Every little bit counts, and even small reductions in our intake can make a huge impact on the climate. By making smarter food choices, we're not only taking care of ourselves, but also the planet we call home. Remember, the choices we make today lead to a better tomorrow.
Thank you for staying with us. You're still watching The Breakfast on Plus TV Africa. It's time for our next hot topic, and this one says NLC shuts down Labour Party headquarters, demands Abure's sack. Yes, that is that's what we're going to be talking about. And joining us to have a conversation is Comrade Ismail Adejumo, as the chairman of Ratawu Lagos and PRO NLC Lagos. Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning for having me, Plus TV. My pleasure to always be here.
Thank you so much.
You.
Okay, so we're seeing this development or saga, if I can call it that. And what is your take on all of this that's happening with the fact that, I mean, you are the PRO of NLC and your team have gone to, shut down the headquarters of Labour Party. So what is your take and why is this happening?
Thank you very much. I appreciate the topic. It's very timely, and if you observe vividly the unfolding events within the Labour Party, recently you agree with me that there are a lot of sharp practices and a lack of transparency in the leadership. And I haven't seen that the trustee, that is the leadership of the NLC, who is the mother of Labour Party, Dimitri, to call the leadership of Labour Party to order, to go on the path of honor by running an inclusive and transparent party administration. Because we know the history of Labour Party in Nigeria. Initially, it was first formed as a party for social democracy under the then leadership of Comrade Ejiofor of the Opta Party, after which it metamorphosed in 2002 into a full-fledged political party, championed by the Nigerian Labour Congress, to create a platform for Labour leadership and veterans in the Labour movement to take active part in the democratic process of Nigeria, not leaving it alone for the money bags who have hijacked the two major political parties. And if you look at the history, right from the time of the then national chairman, Comrade Dan Wanyan, to Comrade Julius Abure, you agree with me, they are all Labour leaders, past Labour leaders, who have championed this party. So we have a stake, we have interest, and we must protect that interest jealously by guiding the principle of social justice, which Labour Party is predicated upon, to play out in our administration. So what is happening in Labour Party today is nothing that is acceptable to the leadership and Nigerians in general, because they repose much confidence in the leadership of Labour Party. But what we have is corruption, impunity, and contempt to the leadership. So these are many more reasons why, and he's planning to organize an illegal national convention with his leadership, which is not supposed to be. He who comes to equity must come with clean hands. We know the process in which he got to the leadership of Labour Party. Now, it builds on the leadership of NLC to right all the wrongs and put his house in order, because a party for social democracy, and it must reflect that principle in its conduct. So that is why the leadership call on all the political commission of NLC to come out and picket the secretariat of national secretariat, and all the state branches of the Labour Party to send a signal to a Abure-led National Working Committee that it is no more business as usual.
Yeah, well, I quite understand the concerns that NLC has, but you talked about equity, coming with clean hands and all that. What justification does NLC have, knowing that the ranks of NLC is flooded with people who belong to other political parties? So how do we justify their actions and saying that they are going to bring sanity to Labour Party, when they themselves, a lot of them belong to APC, PDP and other parties. They have political interests elsewhere. So how are you making Labour Party to be stronger and better when not all of you are card-carrying members of the Labour Party? I just wonder how that marriage is.
Thank you very much. Ideologically, Labour Party is supposed to be the party for Nigerian workers and the progressives. And in every forum or in any organization, there are divergent opinions, there are divergent views, and ideological learning. All of us in the labor movement did not share the same ideology, so to say, from our background before coming up. We are from different affiliate unions that formed the labor center called NLC. And going by that background, you will agree with me that our political orientation and affiliation quite differ based on certain peculiarities that fall within individual control. But I want to assure you that the Labour Party is coming up now to be reformed, to serve as alternative, the third force to the current two major political parties, so that moving forward, we'll be able to fish out all the bad eggs and bring people of impeccable character, people of high pedigree, people of unblemished integrity to steer the affairs of the party, so that people of high integrity, good background, can come up to run on the platform of Labour Party, and they will build a very veritable platform for the Nigerians, most especially the downtrodden and the common people who believe that the other two major political parties have been hijacked by money bags, which cannot give them a level playing field to participate actively in the politics of Nigeria. So the leadership are very concerned, and they are determined to reform the party, bring their own baby.
I understand that some people, some members, of the NLC have a stake in Labour Party, like you've mentioned. But is this also going to happen? Are they not supposed to be independent? Because since the NLC has different card-carrying members, is this also going to be replicated in other parties as well? Because why is it just the Labour Party? For instance, the APC is currently the ruling party of Nigeria. If you're talking about some discrepancies, some illegalities or things that are happening with any party, shouldn't the NLC be going to all of them and say, you know what, we want something that is fair for us?
Because you're stakeholders
yes,
in this country. Because,
like I said, you also have some card-carrying members of the APC and the PDP and NNPP. So why is it just Labour Party? Or are we still looking at a full reform in all other parties as well?
Thank you very much. If you look at the two major political parties we are talking about, they lack ideological focus. Why am I saying this? If you look at the PDP and the APC, they are same of the same. There is no clear-cut distinction or dichotomy between them. But everybody knows what social democracy is all about, and that is what Labour Party, is predicated upon at formation. And if you look at the concept of Labour Party, you understand what social democracy, social justice is all about. Bringing about greater happiness to the greater number, ensuring that we have an egalitarian society where there are equal, people. They say all animals are not equal, but one number. So, but in Labour Party, you can see somebody who does not have anything, an ordinary Okada rider, pick the ticket of Labour Party and become an honorable member today. It's a plus, and it is a litmus test to show that it is not all the time that the money bag will continue to dominate our political space. We must give that level playing ground opportunity for the less privileged, so that the people who are retired from the public service, who have garnered a wide experience in the service, can also pick interest to represent their community, to partake in governance of this country, so that we will not leave everything into the hands of the ex-military men who have dominated the two major parties and the so-called money-backed politicians who are ready to buy their way into government. So that is the distinction between Labour Party and every other political party. And then it's the brainchild of Nigerian Labour Congress, and they are ready to protect it jealously so that it will serve as a future veritable platform for all Nigerians to participate actively in the politics and governance of Nigeria moving forward. Okay. So for the other political party, they have their own reform institute, but in the Labour Party there is what we call political commission. Okay. Political commission give room for all public servants to be active member, to have a membership in that commission and be a member of the Labour Party if they so choose. It's not by compulsion. You can't force anybody to be a member of the Labour Party. Look at in Lagos, some of our senior comrades, leaders here, they have different political leaning, which is very robust and good. It brings about competition. If I stand for the Social Democratic Party, which the Labour Party represents, so be good. If my secretary belongs to the APC, it is also a good idea. At the end of the day, what matters most is the ideology that individuals stand, that the citizens, the masses, will want to align with. But if there is no cut ideological leaning to differentiate this political party, definitely they will become same of the same, and that is why we will not allow that to happen again in Nigeria, so that there will be a voice for the voiceless through this Labour Party movement. It's a mass political movement, and you can see from the last election what has happened. It's a party for the future and a party for the youth, the elders, the women, the downtrodden, that Nigeria will be a better place for all of us. It will not be a party that will be dominated by people who are corruptly enriched themselves in government, who have now transferred back into political party and hijack this party. So in order not for LP to be hijacked, that is why the mother of LP, which is Nigerian Labour Congress, is trying to reform the party in line with the principles and ideology in which it was formed.
Yeah, well, you see, the reality is, if you're picketing the secretariat in Lagos, for instance, and a lot of your members are APC, that means these APC members will also be at the secretariat of the Labour Party to picket. And what will they be telling them? We want you to reform well so that you can come and win APC. So we're just worried about the
conflict of interest.
Yes, the cleanness, if you may, of the intention. That's what we're just saying. For instance, let me ask you a personal question. Are you a Labour Party member?
I am. I stand for what Labour represents in all ramifications. And that is why I deem it fit to speak for Labour, to act for Labour, and to work for Labour, because we are the one that create the wealth of this nation.
So but there are some of your
ideologically, that is where I belong. But going forward, there can be circumstances that might make me, maybe by virtue of representation or the candidate that the party will present, might not suit my principle within the party. I might take exception. You understand? It's personal. That is why it's democracy. It gives room for divergent view and opinion. So, but what matters most is to be focused, to know the direction in which we are going politically and economically. So, if you say for me, all that I represent is social democracy, and that is what Labour Party represents, and that is what I will advocate any day, any time. As for me, I'm not speaking for any other person.
Okay. Well, we're happy. I hope you will identify the people with divergent opinions, because whether we like it or not, if people belong to other parties and they are talking for a particular party, which is like a threat to their party, because Labour Party is a threat to the two big political parties that we have right now. That conflict of interest, like Rume said, will come to play. at any point. But we thank you for your insight that you have given to us to what is happening right now. We do hope that as events develop or unfold, we can still have your audience to talk to us about what is really happening. We wish you luck. We wish your party luck. We wish your party peace at the end of the day, because that's the
Thank you very much. Yes. I represent NLC, and that is the mother of LP. So whatever that is going on within the LLC, it is my concern, utmost concern. And that is why anytime, any day you call on us to discuss on the topical issue that borders on the labor movement, it's always our pleasure to be asked to speak.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Once again do that.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. All right, we've been speaking with Comrade Ismail Adejimo, and he's the chairman, Ratawi Lagos, and PRO of the NLC. And we've just been talking about the recent developments with the Labour Party and the NLC. Anyways, this is where we wrap it up on the show. Yes, it's been nice having breakfast with you this morning. We'll see you again tomorrow. My name is Orome Paulson.
Yes, I've been doing my labor with you this morning as well. So we're so glad that we could serve you this morning. We do hope that you'll join us again tomorrow for another edition. My name is Nyamgul Agaji.
Have a nice day.
I will take you through this amazingness today.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
From a very young age, we're asked what we would like to become when we grow up. And you're expected to have just one answer. Children deciding to be more than one diverse thing evokes frown lines on the faces of adults because the path to being a doctor is at odds with the path to being a musician. However, there are many people who are genuinely curious about so many things around them, and to choose just one thing out of their many curiosities and interests is unsettling. They soon discover that they are bored and want to pursue more things. Some people may refer to these people as confused. However, the term used to refer to such people is multi-potentialites or polymaths or the Renaissance man.
A multi-potentialite is someone with many interests and creative pursuits.
The idea of the Renaissance man or polymath came about during the Renaissance period and is the idea that anyone who applies themselves can be exceptional at poetry, arts, science, mathematics, athletics, and any other field that catches their attention. Oyindamola studied human resources at the University of Lagos and graduated top 2 in her class. Since graduation, she has dabbled into music, acting, social media manager, digital marketing, content marketing, coding, freelance UX designer, and arts.
For me, when it comes to passions, things that don't have to do with money, I work maybe I can say once a week or on weekends. I have my easel here, so I do my paintings. If it has to do with resume writing business, I set up a schedule that enables me to work on that. I have people that work with me. Once a client comes in, there's step-by-step process. It's been assigned. We have processes. So these things, this structure helps me keeps my life in focus. Everything has a structure, and sometimes I don't like. I go with the flow as well. I can just wake up. I have my stylus pen here, and I'm just like, I feel like drawing on my phone. So this is always by my bedside table, and I can just spend like the first 2 hours after waking up just focusing on drawing. So sometimes I take the structured approach, and sometimes I just go with the flow.
The term might be new, but humanity has seen many Renaissance men who include Leonardo da Vinci, who was active as a painter, draftsman, engineer, scientist, theorist, sculptor, and architect. While his fame initially rested on his achievements as a painter, he also became known for his notebooks, in which he made drawings and notes on a variety of subjects, including anatomy, astronomy, botany, cartography, painting, and paleontology. Leon Battista Alberti, who was an Italian Renaissance humanist, author, artist, architect, poet, priest, linguist, philosopher, and cryptographer. Benjamin Franklin, who was an American polymath, was active as a writer, scientist, inventor, statesman, diplomat, printer, publisher, forger, and political philosopher. Thomas Jefferson, who was an American statesman, diplomat, lawyer, architect, philosopher, slaver, and founding father who served as the third president of the United States from 1801 to 1809. Confusion, uncertainty, and always being a beginner is one of the many problems the multi-potentialite faces.
I've always been confused all my life. Ever since I was a teenager. I remember there was one time we had a camp in church, and they were talking about career. Some people knew what they wanted to do, photography, this and that. I didn't know what I wanted to do because my course was chosen for me. What I was interested in didn't seem viable. I wanted to be an artist. I never had any formal training in arts, but I wasn't allowed to do that. So I've always been confused because I'm good at a lot of things. People tell me, oh, you're such a good singer. Oh, you can draw. Oh, you can write beautifully. I was writing poems, I was writing stories. So which one will I do? I asked all the older people around me. They all say the same thing. Focus on one thing. If you focus on one, but I'm not the kind of person that can still my mind and focus on one thing.
It's easy to see your multi-potentiality as a limitation or an affliction that you need to overcome. But what I've learned through speaking with people and writing about these ideas on my website is that there are some tremendous strengths to being this way.
In the modern world, where a common job might require someone to be a social media expert, public speaker, writer, and data analyst, the polymath wins and the deep subject matter expert is relegated to a back corner to be used as a resource for others, explained Jake Chapman in Specialization, Polymaths, and the Pareto Principle in the Convergence Economy. Although specialization has certain economic advantages, in the era of technological convergence, well-educated generalists will be those who are the most valuable. Emily Wapnick explains the multi-potentialite superpowers in her TED Talk.
Fast Company magazine identified adaptability as the single most important skill to develop in order to thrive in the 21st century. The economic world is changing so quickly and unpredictably that it is the individuals and organizations that can pivot in order to meet the needs of the market that are really going to thrive. Idea synthesis, rapid learning, and adaptability. 3 skills that multi-potentialites are very adept at.
Increase the reach of your events or business services. To advertise on Plus TV Africa, please call 0906 000 5719 or 0909 040 8408, or send an email to marketing@plustvafrica.com. Plus TV Africa. Big stories live here.
Good morning. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. This is the news brief. The federal government has released the full list of individuals and organizations financing terrorism in Nigeria. The list released by the federal government include Tukur Mamu, a close ally of Islamic cleric Sheikh Ahmed Gumi. The list also includes 6 Bureau de Change BDC operators. Recall that information earlier released by the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, said those financing terrorism include 9 individuals and 6 Bureau de Change operators. Others on the list are Yusuf Ghazali, Mohammed Sani, Abubakar Mohammed, Salamuddin Hassan, Adamu Ishaq, Hassana Oyiza Isa, Abdul Karim Musa, Umar Abdullahi, while the 6 BDCs and firms are Western East Africa General Trading Company Limited, Settings Bureau de Change Limited, G-Slide General Enterprise, Desert Exchange Ventures Limited, Eagle Square General Trading Company Limited, Alpha Exchange BDC. President Bola Tinubu has vowed to immortalize all the military personnel killed in Okwama community in Delta State. The president also said the fallen officers will be given a befitting burial and national honors. While expressing his heartfelt condolences to the families of the bereaved, he pledged that the sacrifices of the fallen heroes would never be in vain. Recall that about 17 military personnel were killed in Delta State while on a peacekeeping mission, a development that has drawn widespread condemnation from several quarters.
We salute all our men and women in uniform, and we sympathize with them. I also make further pronouncement. They must have befitting burial, and they will have national honor.
The Senate Joint Committee on Defense, Army, Navy and Air Force on Wednesday held a closed meeting with the nation service chiefs over the recent killing of troops in Okwama community, Bomadi local government area of Delta State. The meeting had in attendance the Chief of Defense Staff, CDS, General Christopher Gwambin Musa, Chief of Army Staff, COAS, Lieutenant General Tuarit Lagbaja, Chief of Air Staff, CAS, Air Marshal Hassan, and Chief of Naval Staff, CNS, Vice Admiral Emmanuel Ogala. Recall that the Senate during plenary on Tuesday, March 19, 2024, mandated the Joint Committee to investigate the incident and urged the federal government to ensure that those responsible for the heinous crime are identified, apprehended, and brought to justice. The Joint Committee is chaired by Senator Ahmad Lawan, who is also chairman of the Senate Committee on Defense.
The Senate had a resolution with respect to the killings that happened in Delta State of military officers and men. And a joint committee was set up to investigate what happened. Joint Committee of Defense, Army, Navy, and Air Force. Consequently, we invited the Chief of Defense Staff, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, and the Chief of Air Force. And we had an interaction with them. And we have been briefed of what happened, and this meeting was the first. We expect that we also hold subsequent meetings when we'll have more and more information with respect to what has happened. But let me say this, the Senate particularly and the National Assembly stand solidly with our armed forces. We continue to support our armed forces, and I want to also assure Mr. President that he took the right step when he gave that direction and directive to our armed forces to fish out the perpetrators of this heinous and horrific crime by killing our officers and men in Kwama.
Lawan declared the support of the Senate for the decision taken so far on the matter by the presidency as well as the authorities of the Nigerian Army.
And for us in the National Assembly, there is no investment that the administration can do better than investing in the armed forces and other security agencies for them to secure us and our properties. I believe that this is what every Nigerian wants, and that is what every Nigerian needs. Secured life, secured environment for businesses and other pursuit of life. So we have closed today, but we hope that pretty soon we'll convene again for us to have more information and then report back to the Senate whatever it is that we're able to gather as a report.
So did they suggest to you that
the military will not spend any time without looking for those that have carried out those murders, and therefore we are hoping that pretty soon they will be able to catch them, apprehend them, and of course the law should take its full course. Thank you.
Thank you. The Nigerian army has blamed congestion, absence of CCTV cameras and other essential facilities as largely responsible for the Kuje jailbreak on July 5, 2022. This revelation came at a probe instituted by the House of Representatives Joint Committee on Reformatory Institutions, Justice, Police Affairs, Interior and Human Rights in Abuja on Wednesday. The committee is investigating the whereabouts of inmates who escaped the Kuje Correction Center and the issues of congestion experienced in mostly all the correctional services across the country. Major Peter Ogumbinya, the Assistant Director of Commercial Law, Directorate of Legal Services, who made this assertion, said the Army is still investigating his men who were on duty during the day of the incident, but he quickly stated that the incident took place during rotation of troops and that the Nigerian Army was not the only force on ground on that fateful day.
Also observe issues of low fencing and the CCTV camera absence within the general area. These are some of the things that we observe, and we are unable to, these things we are unable to be put in place before the incident, and I want to believe that these things would have assisted the guards to know what is happening, possibly to see how these things can be assisted. However, on our own parts, the troops tried their best by returning fire to the Boko Haram terrorists on their arrival. However, it was very unfortunate that the troop deployed vis-a-vis the build-up of the general area were not sufficient to actually curtail the terrorists that came from different dimensions. And it became a challenge because we are deployed in so many IS operations, and we could not deploy more to assist the correctional center. However, I want to believe that efforts have been made to see how we can improve on the security challenge that's been confronting the correctional center.
The chairman of the Joint Committee, Honorable Chinedu Oga, Chairman Joint Committees, emphasized the importance of correctional service, describing it as the key to Nigeria's security, stating that the committee will do everything to ensure that it meets global best standards with the contribution of stakeholders.
There is no any sign to show that the military men are on duty from our own constitutional mandate on our oversight when we get to that place. Because we saw where the military people stationed their vehicle, where the police stationed their vehicle, and civil defense. And there is no any act of exchanging of bullets or anything. They just went straight and break the Kuje prison, and those inmates escaped. We know what the military can do. But you have told us now that maybe during the time of election that your people are not. But if your military people are on duty, what did they do to secure that correction service? We want to know, what did they do to secure that correction service? We have so many intelligence in this country. Are you telling us there is no SSS intelligence report? Are you telling us there is no from National Security Advisor report? If there is, why is it that measures are not taken before the occurrence?
The Nigerian Labour Congress on Wednesday stormed the National Secretariat of the Labour Party in Abuja to protest the party's national convention planned for end of this month. The Congress also demanded the sacking of the national chairman of the party, Julius Abure. The NLC leadership accused Abure of planning to hold a secret convention without the inputs of major stakeholders. The planned convention has pitched Abure against the NLC and the House of Representatives caucus. The workers accused Abure of planning to destroy the Labour Party. Policemen refused the protesting workers, however, entry into the party secretariat.
The Labour Party belongs to Nigerian Labour Congress. Now, we are saying that this is injury time. Abure has been rubbing salt into the injury. Abure is a coup plotter, political coup plotter. He was made secretary of Labour Party in June 2019. In March 2021, Abure transformed into chairman of Labour Party. By himself, he plotted a coup. And since that time, there have been court rulings. There have been agreements initiated by INEC requesting Abure to do the normal thing. There is no convention that made Abure chairman of Labour Party.
We have been communicating with Abure in writing, verbal communication, and everything. We have everything, in fact. But all that Abure has resorted to doing is insult us, calling the president of Nigerian Labour Congress a rascal, okay, and all of that, okay. So we have exhausted every avenue, and all we have come here to do is simply picket this office. Watch till we leave this place. Nobody's going to break one piece of wood. Nobody will break a twig. We are not rascals. We are not thugs. But then Abure contracted the DPO of this station to come and block us, and who was threatening to shoot us. People saw him when he cocked his gun. It was when I said, don't. He cocked his gun.
Reacting to the picketing of the Labour Party headquarters in the Utako area of the Federal Capital Territory by the members of the NLC, demanding the resignation of the party's chairman, Julius Abure, the Labour Party National Executive Committee led by Julius Abure has described it as an abuse of the law. In a press briefing in Asaba, the chairman of the party, Julius Abure, said that the Nigeria Labour Congress does not own the Labour Party. He said that the Congress is being used by some powerful persons to destabilize the party.
Today, what we saw in Labour Party was a show of rascality, an abuse of office, an abuse of the law of the land. The Nigeria Labour Congress is a subject of law. Nigeria Labour Congress, under the leadership of Joe Ajaero, is not above the law. And the law precludes Joe Ajaero and the leadership of the NLC to do what they did today to the office of the Labour Party, where they besieged the office, broke the office, destroyed the fences of the office, destroyed the gate of the office, unlawfully took possession of the secretariat, and destroyed properties worth billions of naira and properties of the party stolen away, including monies made for salaries, and several other things were stolen from the office. And I think that this is unfortunate, this is unrealistic, this is becoming unbecoming.
The Nigerian Senate has passed the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act Repeal and Enactment Bill 2024. The Senate resolution followed its consideration of the report by the Senate Committee on Tertiary Institutions and TET Fund. The chairman of the committee, Senator Muntari Dandutse, presented the report during plenary.
Objectives of the bill. The core objective of the bill is to provide a legislative framework to support the establishment of Nigerian Education Loan Fund with a view to oversee the general administration of the management and disbursement of the loan to beneficiaries. Specific objectives of the bill. The bill seeks to achieve the following: provide loan to qualified applicant to pay tuition fee, charges, and upkeep during their courses of study. Senate do consider and pass the student loan access to higher education repeal and reenactment Bill 2024 SB 398 to ensure smooth access to higher education.
President Bola Tinubu had last week written to the Senate and the House of Representatives seeking the repeal of the Student Loan Access to Higher Education Bill and to enact a new one. The bill, which scaled first, second, and third readings in both parliamentary sittings, became law on Wednesday.
The Committee of the Whole considered the report of the Committee on Tertiary Institutions and Third Fund on the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act, Repeal and Reenactment Bill 2024, and approved as follows. Loan title as recommended. Number of clauses, clauses 1 to 36 as recommended. Interpretation, clause 37 as recommended. Short title, clause 38 as recommended. Schedules 1 as recommended. Explanatory memorandum as recommended. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? The Leader of the Senate to repeal the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act 2023 and enact the Student Loans Access to Higher Education Act 2024 to establish the Nigerian Education Loan Fund as a body corporate to receive, manage, and invest funds to provide loans to Nigerians for higher education, vocational training and skills acquisition, and for related matters 2024, third reading taken and passed.
Stay with us now as we take a short commercial break. We'll be back in a moment.
My name is Adejoke Lasisi. I'm the founder and creative director of Planet 3R. As Planet 3R, we convert textile and plastic waste into eco-friendly products. The motivation actually came from a rural community in Ibadan here. Whenever it rains, the whole place, people will not be able to go inside the community. If it rains overnight, people will not be able to go to school, they will not be able to go to work. Anytime the water now goes away, you now realize a lot of waste. And I was like, this is actually the root cause of this problem, improper waste management system. Then I look at it that, what can we do to solve this problem? And that was how I started using the weaving skill that I've acquired from my mom since I was 9 years old. Then I started using it to weave those waste to now make sure that we now convert them into beautiful items like bags, shoes, even clothing. I actually participated at Womenpreneur Season 3, that was 2021. One of the things I really gained at that time was business development. You know, it's not just about the talent now or having to know how to convert the waste or having the idea, but to be able to put it into a successful business. I really appreciate what Access Bank is doing for entrepreneurs. Let us now say women now, because most of the time women don't really have much of these advantages. I love the fact that there's an initiative for women. I want to encourage you to make sure that you go and apply honestly. Your life will not remain the same again.
Move now to other parts of Africa. Unidentified assailants have taken the lives of 15 individuals in South Sudan's Pibor region, including the commissioner, according to a senior official on Wednesday. This incident marks an escalation of violence within the country. South Sudan, battling with internal conflicts, has faced significant turmoil since gaining independence from Sudan. The strife, primarily along ethnic lines between Dinkas and Nuers, resulted in widespread casualties from 2013 to 2018. Outside Africa, Israel's military said on Wednesday it had killed around 90 gunmen and arrested 160 in a raid on Gaza's Al-Shifa hospital, an allegation the Islamic Hamas group denied. Al-Shifa, the Gaza Strip's biggest hospital before the war, is now one of the few healthcare facilities even partially operational in the north of the territory and had also been housing displaced victims. It also published the names and photographs of 2 Israeli soldiers killed in the operation. Israel's raid at the hospital began in the early hours of Monday. In business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced it has cleared the $7 billion foreign exchange backlog inherited by Governor Yemi Cardoso. The Apex Bank said the development fulfills a key pledge on his appointment and signifies a significant step towards restoring confidence in the economy. This was made known in a statement on Wednesday by CBN's Acting Director of Corporate Communications, Mrs. Hakama Sidi Ali, confirming the settlement of all valid FX backlog claims. Ali said the CBN employed Deloitte Consulting, an independent audit firm, to meticulously assess the transactions, ensuring that only legitimate claims were honored. The CBN's commitment to tackling the FX backlog appears to be paying off, with external reserves seeing a significant rise, reaching $34.11 billion as of March 7, 2024, the highest level in 8 months. This month-on-month increase is attributed to a notable rise in remittance payments from Nigerians abroad and increased foreign investment in local assets, including government debt securities. The Apex Bank's actions are noted to be part of a broader strategy outlined during the last Monetary Policy Committee MPC meeting. In entertainment news, Dr. Richard Somiari, Director of Lagos State DNA and Forensics Center, has revealed that the autopsy conducted on singer Mohbad's remains is expected to be completed within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Dr. Somiari disclosed this at a coroner's inquest investigating the circumstances surrounding Mohbad's death on September 12, 2023. He explained that the autopsy aims to determine the cause of death, including searching for potential poisoning. And as the news brief, for more stories, please follow us on Facebook, X, and Instagram, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel at Plus TV Africa and Plus TV Africa Lifestyle. You can also view us from Limex on limex.tv and Glow TV apps anywhere in the world. My name is Nyamgul Agaji. Thanks for being there.
Fearlessness. It is a powerful state of mind free from the weight of limitations and challenges. Challenges that become thrilling adventures, propelling you forward. In the face of adversity, a focus that remains unwavering, fixed firmly on the exhilaration of victory rather than the fear of defeat. It can be built from that education that cultivates a bold and fearless generation of leaders, innovative thinkers, and entrepreneurial sons and daughters of Africa. This is the purpose behind Wigwe University, a beacon of knowledge that will guide the African youth through the realms of academia and the profound lessons of existence. With mentorship and guidance, shaping them into embodiments of fearlessness so that one day they shall proudly declare, "We, the fearless." Welcome to the fearless generation.
I will take you through this amazing lesson today.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on Plus TV Africa.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
I was pushed to the point that I had to start something not numb. And I'm a big risk taker and I enjoy doing things that nobody really does. I wanted something different from every other art form that has been pushed out there. I didn't have that fulfillment in what I was doing and I really wanted to express myself more as an artist, and I decided to resign and go into practicing art full time. I loved subjects that had illustrations or drawings in them. I just kept pushing it and went to the extent of studying art in school, so it's been art all my life for me. I try to conceptualize what I want to create in my head. Even in as much as scattered as it might be, I create it in my head first, then I put it on paper. I sketch, then I try to pick colors, and I proceed to the main piece. A friend of mine told me, like, there's really nothing that could be achieved with graffiti here. The piece behind me is titled Bold Steps. So I'm just trying to put my own as an abstract journey of African fashion has come so far. The word there is Ikeakpa. Ikeakpa is a Bini word for movement. So we are it's just a movement, and we have the shoes here, which shows the flow and the storm which the movement creates, while working. I'm Osa 7. I'm an African urban artist and design consultant.
Now, the Senate has warned the executive against increasing the budget size through a supplementary budget, advising the government to use the excess savings that are expected to be made from the recent depreciation of the Naira to fund the deficit. This came against the backdrop of the depreciation of the local currency against the United States dollar from 900 to over 1,500. Following a series of moves by the Central Bank of Nigeria to unify the parallel and official market exchange rates of the Naira. The National Assembly had in December moved the 2024 budget benchmark exchange rate from 750 Naira to the dollar sent by President Bola Tinubu to 800 to the dollar. Now, rather, the Senate said the executive should use the excess savings to cut down on loans it would seek to fund the deficit in the budget. The chairman of the Senate Committee on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, Tokunbo Abiru, advised the federal government to avoid increasing the budget size. Also coming up, imported food inflation in Nigeria rose to its highest level, reaching 29.8% in February this year from 26.3% recorded in the previous month, which represents a 352 basis point increase. This is according to an analysis by Nairalytics, the research arm of Nairametrics. Further analysis showed that imported inflation has increased consecutively for over 4 years, largely driven by both internal and external factors. The external factors include global supply chain shocks following the COVID-19 pandemic and Russia-Ukraine war, surge in global oil prices, among others, while the domestic front is largely due to FX scarcity and subsequent depreciation of the local currency. Again, the devaluation of the naira has exerted a substantial influence on the net asset value of pension fund assets in Nigeria over the past year. According to PenCom data reviewed, the net asset value of pension funds in US dollar terms has declined by $18.9 billion to $33.3 billion as of January 2023 to $14.4 billion as of January 2024. As of January this year, pension fund assets in Nigeria hit 19.53 trillion naira, representing a 30.3% year-on-year growth from 14.99 trillion naira recorded in January of last year. We will keep our eye on all of those issues on the show today. Welcome to Business Insight on Plus TV Africa. I am Justin Akadonye. Now, before we get into these discussions, the federal government says it acknowledges and prioritizes innovation as a catalyst for technological advancement, as it also promises to provide a conducive atmosphere for entrepreneurship to thrive in the country. Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Nnaji, said this at the maiden edition of the Southwest Techno Expo organized by the National Board for Technology Incubation, which was held in Lagos. Details now. Small and medium enterprises, SMEs, constitute to a large extent the firms providing a good number of employment opportunities and in turn play a vital role in economic growth. Therefore, incubating and integrating technology as well as research and development into these SMEs will enable sustainability as well as provide these businesses with other requirements to grow. To mitigate some of these challenges, the National Board for Technology Incubation has brought stakeholders from the Southwest Zone to curate ideas on elevating Nigeria's research and development through tech incubation programs. For the federal government, the place of research and development cannot be overemphasized, as it promises to provide the right nexus. The organizers intend to raise awareness and unlock potential capabilities by providing a platform where brilliant minds and creative thinkers, among others, can converge.
Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu Jesse GCFR, my gratitude equally extends to all our other valued stakeholders within the geopolitical zone and nationwide.
The theme of this maiden event, elevating Nigeria research and development output through technology incubation program, is out and align perfectly with the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Thus, we are gathered here today with a common vision.
Our emerging talents, aspiring entrepreneurs, and seasoned experts will showcase their projects, articulate their visions, and participate in dialogue that will profoundly influence the course of our technology progress.
Other keynote speakers say the role of small businesses in socio-economic development is universally recognized. However, gaining access to resources, finances, research and development are huge bottlenecks. For the Lagos State government, it will continue to be partners in progress with businesses by creating a sustainable environment for R&D to thrive. Other Southwest governments believe the program will foster innovation and research in startups and beyond.
For Lagos to benefit enormously from AFTA as a new instrument for promotion of trade amongst African countries, technology incubation programs linked to research and development is imperative. This will help attract private sector investment in industry, agriculture, and service sectors.
The development of nano, micro, small, and medium scale enterprises largely depends on the effective performance of technology incubation. Technology incubation helps entrepreneurs identify their talent, strength, weakness, and to develop the ability to recognize when there is an opportunity.
The SME have several challenges, which include their small size as a constraint for process and product innovation. There are problems in gaining access to resources, problems in research and development initiative, limited links with knowledge sources, and financial constraints.
Business incubation catalyzes the process of starting and growing ventures by providing tools needed for growth. The stakeholders are hopeful that research and development will bring about this elevation. All right, welcome back from that report as we look at some critical economic issues headlining today. Joining me in this discourse is international finance and economic analyst Mokhtar Mohammed. Thanks for joining me, Mokhtar.
Thank you, Justin, for having me.
All right, let's start with the budget issue. Last week, there was a conundrum about padding and several allegations, and several people were talking about marginalization. But let's look critically at some parameters used in that same budget, specifically the forex rate, which was pegged at 800 naira, thereabout last year. We know the present reality of today. Now, Senate is looking ahead and warning against supplementary budget like we always do have. But how significant or workable is this 2024 budget in terms of differentials in what we have earmarked last year and what we have faced as of today?
Well, and Justin, sometimes the Senate seems to be saying the right thing, but hopefully they will be able to do the right thing. That's on the thing. Yes, but again, they are looking at it from one angle. The budget was stacked at 800, and today the exchange is about 1,500. And so if you look that, you realize that the budget, the exchange has gone up almost by over 90%. So that means the budget has significantly gone up by 90%. I mean, what the amount for 800,000 is about 1.5 million. So that's to them that they have excess cash. That's why the Senate is saying that you don't have to come back to get supplementary budget, because by that you mean you have excess cash. But now the Senate is forgetting to say, okay, you're looking at it that way. The other way you have to look at it is that foreign debt payment was also tagged at that amount, which was 800 was $1,000. But today, again, $1,000 now is 1.5. So what you think you gain in one hand, you lose also in the other hand. So there must be a balance. And again, if you talk about internally, okay, fine. But when you talk about externally, that means our external debt has gone up again by over 90-something%.
Exactly. I was going to say that. But with the depreciation of the naira from about 800, 900 to the dollar to about over 1,500, the Senate is saying that we should not increase our budget side. But it is talking already about some sort of savings, really. But do you think this move that if we decide to go for supplementary budget, that it might actually worsen the issue of inflation that we have right now?
Yes, I think it depends. If you are going for that based on the non-productive sector, then you're worsening the inflationary pressure. But if you are going to that with the productive sector, then you are also reducing the inflationary pressure. And now, like this is the way I look at it. When you look at the budget mark at 800 naira, that was also it was not for the productive sector. It was for expenditure. It was for capital expenditure, especially recurrent expenditure, which has to do with debt payment and that and that. So if you look at it from that angle, then you have a lot of liquidity in the system. When you look at it, if this was based on the capital expenditure, or if the rate at importation of goods that comes in were at 800, while luxury was at 1,500, then you will see that then the cost of food will go down, the cost of so many things imported will go down, and that also will drive down inflation. So it depends. Is it reduction that we are seeing or heightening that we are seeing? Is it in the productive sector or is it in the sector that is not so much productive to the economy? Because what we've seen, like the CBN governor have said, the 10 trillion that was printed by the CBN at the former administration of Godwin Emefiele was used not in the productive sector, was also used for consumption. So corruption, consumption, and other things. So we need to look at, if we are trying to deal with inflation, then we need to look at our economy critically and begin to look at the productive sector to handle the challenges.
All right, I still want to get a bit of a clearer picture right now. Okay, the Senate says that we earn about 60% of our revenue in dollars. And as such, the fall of the naira against the dollar has created some sort of huge savings, I'm just quoting them verbatim, for the country. What is the true picture really, bearing in mind that we're still servicing debt? And I'm thinking that since it's also denominated in dollars, we are actually paying more. And if there is any savings per se, what should we be channeling there? I know you talked about infrastructure and all of that, but then what should we be doing with these so-called savings, as it were?
Well, Justin, I don't think how they'll have savings. This is a government that is even struggling to meet up his budget deficit. A lot of promises that have made. This a government that have not been able to even pay minimum wage despite going into many agreements. Now what they are doing is payment of allowances. So I think, like you said it, in your one hand, you think you are saving, in the other hand, you are paying debt. So it's like a man that is saying I'm saving money and he's still indebtedness. He's still indebted and the debt keep going, the debt is going up and he's saying I'm saving. So by the time you knock off the debt to the savings there, he doesn't have anything. So there's a common sense when it comes to personal finances. The first thing they tell you to do, you save, and the second thing you do, you pay your debt. And after that, other money begin to go into other productive sector. So because when you are that is both of your asset and your liability. So you try to reduce your liability every time you earn income. So in this case now, instead of us earning income to reduce our liability have increased and our income has come down. Because again, like they say, 60% of what we earn comes from crude. And as it stands today, we are not able to meet up our consumption, our OPEC quota. So we are not earning more, and then we need to service the debt. So there must be a balance. So there must be a critical and look at it and come up with a good understanding of what policy really you want to drive, whether you are looking at savings. Now, savings ordinarily should be good. When you look at what is the benchmark that we're used to saving, because most of our savings actually come from the oil benchmark. And that's why we have the sovereign wealth fund. They are the one to manage some of these savings and put it into key capital infrastructure, like what they did in the second Niger and others. So those savings are not there yet. I don't think so, because the government is still struggling to meet up some liquid demand. But it's